Hi guys, Autumn here today to do my February week 1 wrap up. I read a total of 7 books this week, so let's get started. One of the books I read was Head Over Wheels by Samantha Chase. This was the first book by her I've read. This was the Read Me Romance podcast this week. Also, this one was the first Read Me Romance podcast that was on YouTube, where you got to see Tessa, Mel, and Leah's face. So that was interesting. I enjoyed that aspect. And I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. And it follows Danny and Malcolm, and they go on a road trip. It was cute, fun, enjoyable read, and yeah, I really recommend you guys listening to Read Me Romance if you're not. I really enjoy it, and yeah. And then I read For You by Kristin Ashley. This is book 1 in the Berg series. I read this for Romanceopoly, the Moon Pack for Flirt's Corner, which was to read a book where the heroine and hero is 40 plus years old, and this one fits that. I listened to this on audio. I've had this on audio for quite some time. I've also had this on Kindle for quite some time. So, yes, this follows February and Colt. This is a second chance romance. They were high school sweethearts and they fell. Something happened and they lost touch. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Now it's later in February. Witness a murder, and Colt is a cop, and it's their story. I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read Divided Interest by Kelly Elliott. This is book 3 in the Southern Bride series. This came out on Tuesday, the 4th of February. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This series is all standalone, so you don't have to read them in order. I used this for Sunpack for the winter challenge on Sunpack because it has the white and blue on it, and why not? This follows Paige and Lucas. Again, this is a second chance romance. So I read a lot of second chance romance this week. Oh, but it follows they are from a small town, and they were high school sweethearts, and Paige decides she wants to go away from college, and Lucas breaks up with her because he doesn't want to, and then it's a few years later, and Lucas's grandfather dies, and he was really close to Paige, so he leaves half of his house to Paige and Lucas, and it's their story how having to deal with having to be roommates, and their story. 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to some of that on audio. I listened to probably the last 20-ish% on audio. I read the first 60% of it, and then I listened to the last part of it on audio, and I really enjoyed that. And then I read How to Love a Duke in 10 Days by Kerrigan Byrne. This is the first book by her that I've read. I read this for the Sun Pack of Romanceopoly for the Cobblers. which is to read a historical fiction that has 10 or 5 or more words in the title. And I listened to this on audio from my library. I bought this Kindle book last month because it was $1.99, so I also bought it and read it in 2020. And this is book 1 in the Devil You Know series. This follows Alexandria, who has a troubled past, and she is running from some of her past and like secrets, and then someone's blackmailing her, so she wants to marry a guy so he could protect her, and then she meets Pierce, who she offers like a marriage of convenient, and yeah, I I I did. This was one of the more. This is one of my favorite historical fictions. I'm not a huge historical fiction fan. If you've watched this channel, you probably know that. I don't really like them, and this one was one of the better ones I've read or listened to, and I'm excited to read more by her. Um, and yes, so there's that. And then the last book that I'm going to show you on my iPad is a reread, and that is It's Not Over by Kaylee Ryan and Lacey Black. This is book 1 in the Fair Lake series. I reread this. I read this last year. The second book just came out, so I wanted to refresh myself. These are standalone, so you don't have to read them back to back. I prefer reading them in order, and this follows Gwen and Harrison, and they are married, and this is also a second chance romance. They are married, and in the beginning they decided to get a divorce, and neither one wants to get a divorce. It just, their marriage just fell apart, and they just decided to get a divorce. And then on the day of their divorce, they sleep together, and she ends up pregnant, and it's their story back to what they want. And I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 stars. And then the first book I actually read this week was Book Boyfriend by Claire Kingsley. This is my one of my romance reveal books that I have to pick for the month. And I read this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is the first book by this author I've read. This is also book 1 in the Book Boyfriend series. And this was on Kindle Unlimited, so I got the Kindle version and read that. And this follows Mia, who is a book blogger, and Alex, who is a writer. And he goes by the name Lexi. He is a romance writer, and he doesn't want his readers to know he's a guy. And it's just their story. This book, I really related to Mia, and a lot of things that she was saying, I really relate to her, and I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to continue on with this series. The other 2 books are in Kindle Unlimited, so I will read them. Maybe not this month. Well, I may read them this month, just not next week. Next week is Contemporary-a-thon. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then the last book I read was Undeniable by Macaulay Smeltzer. This is book 2 in the Second Chance series. And But this is a standalone. This follows Carly and Holden, and this is a best friend's brother or sister, best friend's sister romance. And I read this for the moon pack of BFF's house, which is to read a best friend siblings romance. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I've had this book shamelessly. I got the Kindle version of this book in October 2013. So it's been about 7 years, and I've yet to read this one, which is surprising. If you watch this channel, you know Macaulay Smelter is my favorite author, or one of my favorite authors, and I haven't read this book before then. And I don't know why. I just never picked it up. But I'm glad I did. 5 out of 5 stars. As I said, this follows Carly, who just turned 18, or is 18, and she is a dancer, and she's going away to college in New York for dance school. And Holden is her older brother's best friend. He is 26, so there is a little age gap, but it's not too bad. I really enjoyed this. This does talk a little bit about abuse and that, so be aware. And they are both foster kids, so they didn't have the best parents growing up. And Holden is very broken. And I really enjoyed this. 5 out of 5 stars. And those are the 7 books I read this week. And I'm super excited. I read all of them, and I've read a total of 14 books now for Romanceopoly, and there are 78 challenges. So I only have 64 more left to do until I'm completely done with that. So I'm moving right along for Romanceopoly, and I'm really excited about that. I've done 7 so far for both packs, and then I have 3 more for both packs this month to do, and I'm super excited. One of them is a library, so I could do that next week with the Contemporary-a-thon. And the next one I think I have to read for the moon pack is A Second Chance romance, which clearly I could read. So I'm excited to continue on with my Romanceopoly and my reading. I've read a total of 36 books so far this year, which I'm really excited about. That's really good. I'm really happy about that. I haven't really bought that much books this month already. I mean, it's the 9th of February, and I haven't really bought that many, so that's good. I don't plan on buying any physical books this month other than my Romanceopoly. My romance reveal. Sorry, and that's because I am going to a Polycon, and I already pre-ordered so many books in that. So yes, March I'm gonna have a lot more books that I have not read to add to my collection. So yeah, I'm super excited for a Polycon that's next month. And yeah, if you've read any of these, what did you think of them? And if you want a full review on any of these, just let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.